Clem, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2015, and the topics of today's show will be, first I want to talk about what's in the news at Turn to the Stars, and then the body of the show is the SuperMoons of 2015. And so just jumping right into, for the first couple minutes of the show, I just want to talk about an event that's coming up this Saturday, which is January 24th, right here in Manchester, New Hampshire at the Yard Restaurant. We at Turn to the Stars are facilitating our 27th Psychic and Holistic Fair, and we invite you to join us. The theme of the fair is a multi-dimensional circle of light, and I have a little flyer or something to display that I'm going to put on the screen. There it is. And as I said, this is our 26th event, and it is going to be from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. So those of you watching who are from the local area here to Manchester, New Hampshire, we invite you to join us. It's a great event, lots and lots of fun, and lots of great insight provided by some very gifted readers, healing therapists, and holistic vendors. So we look forward to seeing you there. It's great insight for the spirit, soul, mind, and body, and so we look forward to this, and we've got a really great venue of display for you that day. So next on the agenda, I want to talk a little bit before I jump into those supermoons of 2015 about a statement that you saw on my new introduction to the Turn to the Stars show. Astrology studies the systems around us to understand the systems within us. And that is a very, very, very powerful statement. And because we here on Earth are a part of a much bigger system, and our solar system is that system. So within every system is a system is a system, but our solar system, Earth, is a part of that system. That means that we follow the sun in its, the sun goes in this, travels through time and space in our galaxy, and our Earth follows it, being one of, a whole other collection of other bodies who we call planets. So I have a picture to show you. The first image that I have to show you on the screen, this is actually a picture of what that looks like from space. And the blue lines are the paths, and you can see the straight line is the sun, and the planets are that follow the sun, of which we on Earth are one of. And these blue lines are those paths that they take as they follow the path of the sun. It kind of looks like a spiral, circular type of path that each planet takes. And the next image that I have is showing you with more clarity, the sun being way to the right, and then Mercury, which is closest to the sun, Venus, which is the next planet out from the sun, and Venus, the next out from the sun, and then there we are, Earth. And you can see the circular pattern that each of these planets takes as it follows the sun through the galaxy. And then you see Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and we don't see the further out planets, which are beyond that, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. However, I did want to give you a bird's eye view of what this looks like from out in space. And then the next photo I have is the human DNA, which is a copy. It looks just like the path that the sun and the planets take through our galaxy. And so our human DNA matches the same pattern as our as our solar system paints in, out in the galaxy. So that the path or the map or the picture of what our solar system looks like as it travels through time and space, our DNA has that same pattern. So the systems around us match the systems within us. And this is something that's been talked about by scientists, by astrologers for centuries and centuries, and we are perfectly made and designed in the essence of our solar system. So I wanted to just point that out to you and let you know that why we study astrology, because it's a perfect science. It gives us the exact picture of who we are. What's around us is the same as what's inside of us. And today is January 20th, and we are sitting right on top of a new moon in Aquarius. That actually occurred around 7 this morning. And this year, in 2015, we actually are going to be experiencing 6 supermoons. And this new moon that we just experienced is one of those 6. And I'm going to give you the dates of these super new moons. They'll be January 20th, and that is going to be in the constellation of Aquarius, February 18th in the constellation of Pisces, and March 20th, which is a total solar eclipse in the constellation of Pisces. Those are the super new moons, and the super full moons will be on July 31st, and that full moon will be in the constellation of Aquarius, and the next super full moon will be on August 29th in the constellation of Pisces. And the next super full moon, the 6th one of 2015, will be in Aries on September 27th. Now, I'm going to show you a chart of the new moon, which is the new moon in Aquarius. And that's image F. There we go. And you can see it highlighted over there on the left, 0 degrees and 7 minutes into the constellation of Aquarius. And this is a really spectacular new moon, being that it's a supermoon. And what you can do if you have your birth chart is you can take and find out where this falls in your birth chart. If you were to take and look for 0 degrees Aquarius, if you find out where it is, you'll know what part of your life is being highlighted with a new theme and with movement beyond where you're at, where you've been for people that are fixed signs. If this is highlighting those fixed signs in your chart, it is finally time for you to move on. You are ready to accept this change, and it truly is time to leave behind the past. So I'm going to come back to that in just a couple minutes, that picture of the new moon and the chart, what that looks like out in space. But you heard me on the past show that I just recorded last week talk about these supermoons. And I'm going to go much more into detail why they're so important on today's show. So we ask, what is a supermoon? First of all, let's understand that the term supermoon didn't come from astronomy. Historically, we used to call these supermoons perigee, new moons, or perigee full moons. And perigee actually means, perigee means near Earth. And there's an astrologer, Robert Knoll, who's from Arizona, who is credited with using the term supermoon. And he defines them as a new or a full moon which occurs with the moon at or near within 90% of its closest approach to Earth. So by this definition, a new moon or full moon has come within 224,834 miles of our planet here, Earth, as measured from the centers of the moon and the Earth, and it must meet those specifications in order to be a supermoon. So this is our first supermoon in 2015. Further, a supermoon means that the moon is, again, closest to the Earth and in direct alignment with the sun and the Earth at the time of the new moon. So this makes its energy influence super potent. The closer something is to you, the stronger the effect it has on you. And I'm sure you would agree with that. The closer something is to you, the stronger effect. If somebody's in the same room as you and you know, whether you like them or you don't like them or you want to get to know them, if they're on the other side of the room, the effect is very weak. The closer they get to you, the energy grows. The attention, the energy grows. So again, the closer something is to you, the stronger the effect has on you. And I have a picture here, which is of the difference between a regular full moon and a supermoon. You know, we see the moon when it's a full moon. So here we see the comparison. A supermoon is actually 30% brighter and 16% bigger than a regular full moon. And, on a new moon, we can't see the moon, but it would be the same way. It would be closer. If we could see it, it would be 16% bigger. So this is why we call it a supermoon. It is so much closer to us. So these supermoons do strengthen the shocking need that we are experiencing here on Earth for change. And I'm going to go further into what supermoons are. Supermoons are very noteworthy for their close association with extreme tidal forces working in what astrologers of old used to call the sublunary world. The atmosphere, there's this crush and a sense that, the oceans are a lot more active when you have these supermoons. From extreme coastal tides to severe storms to powerful earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, the entire natural world surges and spasms under the sway of the supermoon alignment. And it's typically 3 days before or 3 days after these supermoons. Now this one's interesting because it is in Aquarius, so we're going to look at it a little bit different. Supermoon solar eclipses tend to have a wider sphere of impact, extending roughly a week before and a week after the actual event. And March 20th, which is the third super new moon of the beginning of 2015, is a total solar eclipse. And other lunar extremes can extend the geocosmic stress window by a day or two here and there in any case. So areas in our lives that are going to be most highlighted will be ones that are associated with Aquarius. And when we think about Aquarius and astrology, the ways we describe this energy are areas such as humanitarian efforts will be affected, civil rights, humane treatment for everyone is going to be a theme that's going to grow and be very present in a very super way in our lives. Radical uprising, rebellions, lots of energy, attention around friends and associations, groups, your community connections, doing what's best for all, achieving your goals in a different way, and really listening and exercising your intuition, and a realization of the webs that connect us together, science and technology, new thought, new ideas, new programs. So this new moon is setting the tone for a super emphasis on all of these areas for each one of us. And again, if you look where this new moon is occurring in your chart, what house or what area of your chart, and how it's connecting angular connections that it's forming with other planets that are in your birth chart, you're going to be able to know the effects that will be in your life, that the theme of growth. And it's interesting because on the last show I talked about January 5th, when Mercury first entered into 0 degrees of Aquarius. It was giving us, logically and reasonably, we were talking about what was to come. It was giving a snapshot of us, for us, of what this new moon would really emphasize for us. And interesting, tomorrow Mercury turns retrograde. So we've already got a logical glimpse, and we've been talking a lot about these themes this far. Today is January 20th. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper and study into the Aquarius energy influence. And Aquarius is called the water bearer. I'm sure many of you know that. And it is so often mistaken for being a water sign. It is not a water sign, as the symbol is of parallel wavy lines, which is historically representing 2 serpents, which reveals to us the electric quality, sort of like electric eels, if you want to think of it that way, reveals to us the electric quality of truth that comes from knowledge, and the water is depicted as being the carrier in the picture of a lady holding the vessel, pouring the water out to the earth. The water is depicted as being the carrier of the mental wisdom from which power comes from and is poured out for the benefit of all humanity. So Aquarius is also a universal air sign, affects the intellectual faculties, thought, reason, communication. Aquarius is a fixed, very strong sign because of its fixivity, its staying power, signifies the backbone of a survivor. So there's a strong energy around survival present. It's one of the final four signs of the zodiac, and it brings the ideal relationship between all things. Aquarius embraces all forms of diversity into its view. Aquarius sees us all as brothers and sisters like Martin Luther King did, and yesterday we celebrated his birthday. He was a revolutionary, visionary who called for equality with all. So as this new moon that we're sitting right on top of today, energy grows, it's very important that we pause, we breathe, and we accept what is happening within us. This is truly a time that you can empower yourself, meaning do what makes you feel powerful. And get out of your own way. Move out of your comfort zone. Take a stand. Make informed, wise decisions. At least, while Mercury is retrograde till February 11th, investigate those decisions a little bit further. This theme of Aquarius is kind of interesting because it's a new theme that's growing, but we are still contemplating what our decisions will be. And we do have that turning point around the end of January with Mercury. So this energy is encouraging you to make a fresh start. Be innovative. Don't allow the negative ego to hold back your hopes and dreams, because the fixed signs can really get stuck in negativity. So it's very important to be cognizant of that. Exercise your creative nature. If a door closes on you, take a different approach. Aquarius, unique, different, and open a window. Climb out, move into or onto a new life path. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is your inner guide, your inner compass of knowledge. Find your people. It was interesting. I was watching a movie a couple weeks back, and there were 2 guys, and one guy said, "Where's your people? Who are your people?" And the guy said, "I don't have any people," but he quickly realized throughout the movie that he needed people, and that he was actually in the process of finding his people. So find your people, that is, people who are of like minds, and team up. Allow your higher self to guide you to your like-minded community. Expect that you're going to have sudden, unexpected opportunities that can come to you from out of the blue, because Aquarius is quite unique and the energy can be quite unexpected. Pay close attention to the messages you receive at this new moon. Receive at the new moon and to the end of January when the Sun and Mercury come together. That's an epiphany time as well. These messages will hold keys to your success for this year, because it is said that whatever you start on this new moon in Aquarius, whatever forward motion you take, there's no turning back. So these messages are going to hold important keys to your success this year. Speak less, listen more. Listen to what is not being said, meaning be quiet. Listen to your inner voice. Pay attention to that. Sometimes you need to be quiet in order to hear that. A new approach, an unusual approach, is indicated on this new moon. So as the zodiac sign of Aquarius is ruled by the planets Uranus and Saturn, the indication is that we each as humans are changing. It may feel chaotic. It may feel crazy. It may feel like you're riding on a wave of electricity. And truly you are. Do whatever you can to channel your energy positively. Ground yourself. Aquarius is an air sign, and so our mental faculties are affected. It's a very independent sign also. So if you're feeling trapped, look for some outlets to give yourself a sense of relief, and so that you can regain that sense of feeling of independence in your life. However, the world around you holds the keys to achieving your goals. Your intuition holds the keys toward your self-achievement. Aquarius is considered to be a cold, detached, and unemotional sign. It's highly intellectual. It is also, though, considered to carry the makeup of a genius, a strategist. And with this new moon so close to Earth, this supermoon, your intuitive guidance will be strong and heightened. So do listen closely. And now I want to talk about the planet Saturn, which is also highlighted on this new moon, because it is one of the rulers of the zodiac sign Aquarius. And currently Saturn is in the constellation of Sagittarius. Saturn in Sagittarius influences our work, and it is influencing us to explore what's beyond the horizon. Take the wisdom you have from the past and go toward new and untried territories. Very important. That's what Saturn is stimulating. Think about the wisdom that you've gained along the way. For us, it's a time to, share the truth, publish the truth. More and more unfair practices will not be accepted. We actually had that type of experience in our house yesterday with a company that we pay to in order to use our cell phones. Unfair practices, and we called them on it, and they did straighten it out, which was good. The astrologer Robert Knoll says that lunar perigee syzygy was first brought to his attention in 1978 when he studied Fergus Wood's strategic role of perigean spring tides. He says that Woods concentrated on the tide rising power of perigee syzygy, but upon reading it and digging into a bit of history, he quickly became convinced that this is a phenomena of far more than tidal significance. He said that he discovered that ancient astrologers and astronomers were not totally oblivious to the phenomena of the supermoon. In the 2nd century BCE, Hipparchus had noticed that the moon appears larger at certain times of the lunar month, and reasoned that this was due to Moon, or Luna, as he called it, being closer to Earth at such times. Perigee, of course. A few hundred years later, Ptolemy focused on Sun, Moon, syzygies as keys to the cosmic equation and said there are certain particular consequences which result from the new and the full moon. And so astrologer Knowles said from Hipparchus pointing to lunar perigee and Ptolemy recognizing the importance of the sun, moon syzygy, it's a small step to putting the two together, and what you get is a supermoon. So if the supermoon can have such a powerful effect on the Earth, we can see where it may also have a powerful effect on our psyches. Not everyone experiences lunar events the same way, and certainly our astrological birth charts describe how sensitive we are to different forces. So people that do have a lot of planets in water, especially Cancer, are far more sensitive to the moon. People with strong Mercury, Gemini, Virgo, Uranian, Aquarius influences are far more sensitive to the electrical forces. We're all, as you know, very different, which is why there's no way to make predictions that will be effective for everyone. That's why I recommend that if you have your birth chart, take a look at it, or you can always write to me with for some insight. I'm happy to hear from you. Since the full moon influences strong emotional tides, a supermoon does so with even more force. So don't be surprised if you find yourself wide open, free of the usual protective coat that you usually cover and protect yourself with. On this new moon today, Mars and Neptune are also separating from a conjunction in Pisces, square Saturn in Sagittarius. So this presents the challenge to persevere in the face of the unknown, in the face of fear. And, Aquarius energy tends to shake things up. And our hesitancy to do so now is completely justified. Questions that come up are ones like, what if we upset things? What if we offend other people in the process? In order to find your place in the world and the universe, you have to take some risks. It isn't always easy, but the rewards are truly worth the challenge. In an effort to express your true originality, your true self, it may require that you make other people or even sometimes yourself uncomfortable. So there's no getting around that fact. What we choose in our lives is what we learn from and what we grow from. And so we really need to trust and have the faith to take the steps that are necessary for us to grow and evolve. And remember that, as I said in the beginning of the show, that it is truly sort of like, this new moon is sort of like a turnstile. Once you find your way through it, a turnstile type of door, you have no choice but to keep going forward. So I'd like to ask you to join me next time on Turn to the Stars as we continue to study the world around us, to understand the world within us, and just sort of give you one final note. This is truly a time of reckoning going on that we're living in right now, and that each of us are being asked to sort of like pay our dues required for past karmic actions, choices, and in relationships. And it's truly a time of opportunity for us to move forward with the knowledge of the past. And it's a time of gaining equality and understanding the things within us that are coming up in order for us to achieve that sense of equality. So again, I hope you join me next week for Turn to the Stars, and I just want to leave you with one final word of advice. Turn to the stars and you will find your answers there. Take good care. I'll see you next week.